What's up, guys? I think I got it. And welcome to this episode of, what do we call it now? Tuesday afternoon talks? Tuesday
Something
talks?
like that.
Something like that. Thank you for bearing with us on the time. Doing it in the afternoon. It's always going to get moved around a little bit because we actually have clients to take care of.
We do actually have some clients.
Yes. And let's just bring it with fire first. It's much easier to take care of your current clients than to find a new one. So that would be the first tip of the day. To those of you who don't know, my name is Mikhail.
And I'm Hannah.
And every Tuesday afternoon, maybe one day we'll do it at 5 o'clock in the morning. Every Tuesday we do a live broadcast to talk about digital marketing, social media marketing, and answer any of your questions live. So if you do have any questions about social or digital marketing, please feel free to comment below and we will answer them live. But why don't we just get into it today? The first thing that we're going to talk about is how to build your network, not grow your following, but build your network on social media. Let's just dive into it. What would you say is your first hack to do that, Hannah?
My first would be consistency. You don't want to kind of go in and out periodically, and it really helps your followers predict, and that consistency will both help the algorithm and then also just help them always be gaining content and gaining knowledge and help you connect with people. And when you build this network of people who are all sharing great content, you can all help each other out, you can all comment on each other's posts and everything, and that's one of the best ways to build your brand, which is also built on your network.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing with consistency too is you want to continue to remind people that you exist. Right?
What?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, have you heard those horror stories of like those YouTubers who just don't YouTube for like 2 weeks and then all of a sudden they're
Oh, and there's like conspiracy theories that they're in, like that they're kidnapped or something like that.
It's more of their It's more of their viewership going down by like 50%.
That happen though.
Yeah, that's scary and sad. Well, I guess it's kind of interesting. You're tagging yourself wherever you go and letting people know where you are at all times. I mean, it's bound to happen.
Well, that's what happened to. I mean, it didn't actually happen, but followers thought that it did to this one person. But it's all. I mean, that's what happened to like
Kim Kardashian.
Like supposedly, it's just she was tagging her location and flaunting everything. Anyways.
All right. The second tip to grow your network on social media: don't be a creep. I mean, it's really easy, like now with the not the introduction, but like stories are obviously an easy way to connect with people at all times. The same thing with like Snapchat and things like that. Like, look, if you haven't built any sort of relationship, I would go ahead and say that the DM world is still kind of a coveted space for people. Like, like even being a dude, like I can only imagine what it's like for girls, but like being a dude, I don't want a bunch of people in my DMs. I definitely don't want you like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's just weird. Just don't be a creep. So like, come in and like build some sort of relationship, interact with content in a normal way. Like you don't just like go in there and go for the kill. You got to finesse somebody. You got to take me on a couple dates before you're gonna.
Some Instagram comment dates.
Exactly. You got to court me before you want to go into my DMs. But all jokes aside, I mean, people are just more likely to respond if you've built a relationship over time to your direct messages. Would you agree?
Definitely. I mean, also just honest that side of things, like check your DM requests. That's usually where some people just go to stay, but it is like if someone doesn't follow you but they're commenting, that's where you'll likely find them. So when you do get to that point of going into your DMs and seeing what might be there, it's always check that, because your next client could be in your DM request.
Yes, absolutely. What would you say is the third tip for growing your network online? This
is kind of a tricky one. It's engage. And it's really important to engage with the people who are commenting and liking and just interacting, if they retweet or if they repost or anything. But with all the comment bots these days, it's usually pretty easy to call them out. But it's always balancing the engaging with comment bots, not engaging with comment bots, and then also just really starting conversations with people of, hey, thanks so much for sharing my content, or hey, what do you think about this, and everything. And so the engagement builds your network and your community through that, and ultimately that's what you want. You want a network that's built around helping people and communicating.
Absolutely. I mean, we've been talking about it for a while, where like Twitter comments have become more, Facebook comments reminds us more of Twitter more and more every day, where people are actually having conversations there, which kind of goes on to the next point of, have your conversations in a public environment before going into your DMs, right? Because again, it's a trust builder type of thing. You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't just show up to somebody's door, or, you wouldn't do that. You'd probably say hi to them at Starbucks first before you like follow them to their car. Like what?
One would hope.
One would hope. You want to kind of think of it that way. Twitter chats are definitely very helpful for Amy. Thank you for your comment. Twitter chats are definitely very helpful. Yeah,
that's some great people in my network from Twitter chats.
Yeah, I met Hannah on Twitter. I mean, that's going to be the famous story one day. And a lot of them are there, but I think that's the magic behind Twitter is those conversations are very public, so people are more apt to have that. In addition to that, like, it makes the other person feel good that you're willing to interact with them in a public setting, and it kind of lets somebody's guard down, and like, oh, they're not just trying to be a creep and like slide into my DMs real crazy, right? So that would be that. Matt, thank you for your question. We definitely will answer that. Once we get through these points real quick. So, what would you say about your next tip?
Keep it professional? I think that was your tip, but I can talk about it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, that goes back to don't be a creep. I think it boils down to a few very simple things. Yes, you can be friendly, but just make sure to not cross that line. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And at risk of being redundant, you're right. It does kind of go back to that. I think the biggest thing though, and take out your pens and paper, guys. Like, the biggest thing when you are growing your network on social media is you have to be able to add value without having to ask how you can add value. And that's kind of a tip that, my friend Brittany actually talks about quite often. It's like, if you have to ask somebody how they can add value into your life, then, you're actually devaluing that time that you just had, right? So make sure that you already know how you're going to add value, whether it's asking them to, whether it's solving a problem that you can see that they have. I mean, if you actually do a little bit of research, you can see, maybe Hannah is having time with or a hard time with project management, and then you offer her a couple videos or something like that. You know what I mean? On how that can help. Like, that's a nice way to add value and just show that you actually care.
And don't make it a pitch for your company.
And don't make it a pitch for your company.
It can be in certain ways, but you don't want to automatically be, oh, hey, here's a tool. It's, have you tried this video? Just
absolutely.
Use your best judgment.
Use your best judgment with that. Search hashtags around we talk about this all the time. Search hashtags around the things that you're interested in and become part of that conversation, kind of like a Twitter chat. And as Saba used to say, the best way to give back to a community is to become part of it. So find a group of people that are interested in what you're doing and start talking about that. There are Facebook groups that you can use, that you can look up just, to and invite yourself into that and try to talk about, find conversations around what you're already interested in, and that way you can actually add value to that conversation, right? So Twitter groups, Facebook groups, Twitter hashtags, Instagram hashtags, and don't be creepy. And I think you'll do just fine. Now, before we move on to to Hannah's highlights, Matthew Boyarski asks, what's your favorite method or takeaway of increasing CTR on Facebook ad copy? This is actually something that we were talking about yesterday with some of our team, and if you are using Facebook Power Editor, for example, you can create what's called an ad set. And basically the ad set is the 5, 6, 7 different ads that you're using for one objective and one target. And within each one, you can try different types of copy within each ad, but it's targeted toward the same person or the same audience with the same budget, with the same objective, the same landing page. And then what's nice about that is you don't even have to do too much work because Facebook's automatically going to push up the ad that's working the best. So what I would say to you is this, Matt, is use Facebook Power Editor, edit your ad sets. And in your ad set, you can go through each and every ad and test a different type of copy, even with the same picture if you wanted. Test a different type of copy with those different ads, and it'll automatically test that stuff for you. In addition to that, Facebook is also rolling out, or they have rolled out, an automatic A/B test kind of format for you too. It's something that we're yet to try, but we've just been doing it with the Facebook ad sets. Right?
I think it's also important to not change too many things at once. If you want to test, an A/B test is meant to give you results that you can use to work off of. So you don't want to try too many things at once. You want to change up the imagery with the same copy or the copy with the same imagery, because if you mess with too many things in that single test, you're not going to know what specifically works. So you want to remove as many variables as you can. It's kind of like the scientific method, and then try one slight copy change or whatever, but keep that pretty simple and then go from there.
That was a really solid point. Notice how Hannah adds value to her community with some fire.
Sometimes.
Thank you so much. So why don't we move on? Actually, Amy also has another question before we get on to the next one. Amy Ames asks, how do you guys find relevant hashtags? Any apps? Hashtagify.com. I will repeat for you, Amy.
Oh, that's how you do it all.
Hashtagify.com. I thought I had talked about this before.
Maybe. I just use Instagram. And
Hashtagify.com is really cool. That will, if you type in like a certain subject or something like that, it'll give you a bunch of different, it'll give you the most relevant tags and how they were kind of connected with each other. So hashtagify.com is cool. In addition to that too, is I will look at influencers in our space, and I will look at the hashtags that they're using and who's interacting with them also. So that also helps quite a bit. Thank you so much. David, you are correct. You can't go up to a complete stranger and whisper in their ear. That would be weird. Cool. To everybody just checking in every Tuesday, just call it Tuesday, we do a live Facebook broadcast to talk about everything in digital marketing and social media marketing. So why don't we move on to Hannah's highlights, Creative Mornings.
it's a big one, guys.
Yeah, so this is pretty exciting. Hannah's been working on a networking group, right, in Orange County called Creative Mornings. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
So Creative Mornings is a franchise-style event that happens on one Friday every month across the world. And so I have two amazing co-hosts. We got approved, we interviewed, applied for, and got approved for a chapter last week in Orange County. So if you are part of the Orange County creative community, it doesn't matter if you're a photographer, writer, anyone who finds himself creative, keep an eye out because we will be starting very soon, most likely.
Does it cost any money?
It is free, and it's going to be about an hour, so it's a little bit of networking. I hate that term, but it's going to be the good type of networking, and there's going to be a speaker, about 20-30 minutes that they're going to talk, and it's a really great way to just build relationships in the area. This isn't a way to stuff your business card in everyone's face. It's going to be, we want to make it a place where you can come and you can grow, you can be challenged, you can build your network, and I think it's going to be really great.
So when somebody comes, I know that they're going to, they can obviously help build their network as we're talking about here, but in addition to that, like what else can they expect? Any takeaways, any cool sponsors, or any other opportunities for right now that you know of?
Right now, I can't speak too much to it, but it's just it's gonna be great. We're excited.
Cool.
We're gonna launch it well. The theme, I think we have something really special for it. Every month there's a theme, so every chapter across the world is gonna be speaking on the same theme, but the speakers all vary, which is really great way to kind of create it, make it your own, but also blend it in with the entire network of Creative Mornings.
And did you do Creative Mornings in Nashville?
I wanted to, but I worked at my part-time job was
Gotcha.
during that time, so I couldn't go. So I've been to the one in San Diego. That one is a really successful chapter. They have about 400 people. So maybe someday we'll get to that point. We're going to start small and start well, and yeah, we'll see what happens.
And why do you love Creative Mornings so much?
Because I really love the creative community, and I feel like typical networking events are meant to be very, how to phrase this, very kind of like you help me, I'll help you. But the creative community is just, we help each other without, the right way is to help each other without the expectation of anything in return. And that's how I try to live my career and live my life. And I think that Creative Mornings really inhabits that.
Awesome. I'm really excited for that. Congratulations on getting that. I know it's been a lot of work. How long has it been? 6 months? Almost 6 months putting that together.
Yeah, because we tried to apply for one, but it was a little too small, so then they kind of...
Oh, and actually that's a kind of a shout out to Megan too, if she ends up watching this, because I briefly helped her working out.
So Megan Anguiano and Gregory, oh my gosh, I'm really embarrassed, I forget his last name. Gregory Skinner.
That's awesome.
They're two kick-ass
And
co-hosts.
if anybody wants to reach you and ask more questions about Creative Mornings, where can they find you?
Let's do my Blue Light email. So Hannah, H-A-N-N-A-H @bluelight.media.
Awesome. Good plug.
Thanks.
Cool. Awesome. And lastly, to anybody else checking in, we're going to talk about what's working for clients. And I
Yes.
think that one of the biggest vulnerability for any company right now is their workflow process. Can we just say that email project management is not an efficient way to do anything, ever? Ever.
Can you tell Mikhail is very
I'm very passionate about
passionate?
this. We invested a long time ago into a program called Pulse. It's actually not very expensive.
And it's very visual.
Yeah,
Love it.
for the cost of 327 coffees a month, you can get. I'm just kidding. For anywhere from $50 to $150 a month, depending on how many users you have. Depulse.com, I think, is a great way to manage your projects. But so check that one out. It's a visual way to it's a to-do list that assigns different people. But I think that there are some other options as well. But we've used Basecamp in the past, which isn't bad. We've also used Asana, which is
Trello in the old days.
Dude, that was a long time ago.
That was
Trello.
so long ago.
That's crazy, but yeah, using a project management system has really helped the approval processes for creatives, which helps things go a lot further. And then something like Depulse, for example, they're not paying us, by the way. I'm such a huge advocate for them.
Yeah, it's a really great company. Like, they're so helpful with anything
so rad.
you need. Yeah.
But by having everybody see everything at once instead of having to dig through Google email or something like that to find a project really saves a lot of time and a lot of headache. But what are some of your hacks for like time management and creative processes?
Make a list. I love lists. Here. It's right here. This is my list. Oh, shoot. I'm just showing everything. But there's my list. Yeah. Everything falling apart. Anyways, make a list. Follow it. I start every morning making a list based off of my monthly overview and Depulse. And so that helps me really focus on what is important for the day. And then it also helps me keep tabs on the team because my role is making sure you all do what you need to do.
Yes.
You're very patient. And so it's definitely, it just keeps everything in your mind because I can't remember anything. So writing everything down,
cool.
Make sure I get it done, and it keeps you on track. You can prioritize.
Can we debunk the theory of multitasking together?
Yes. You can never truly focus on multiple things at once.
Yeah, multitasking is a joke. It's not real. Like you can't do five...
I still do it. Yeah. Don't think that
it's a process. It's a process for us. I think we're all collectively getting better. But I think multitasking is a nice excuse for like I can't like handle my push notifications and my email at the same time. And I'm the same way. You know what I mean? I'm on social media and trying to manage clients at the same thing. But being super focused on one thing at a time is a great way to save time and energy and do your job better. You can't do 5 things at 100% at all times. Right?
Yes.
Yeah,
oh my gosh. Deepa, yes. I would love to do that. I'm flying to Nashville for a wedding, and I really wish that I could go. It looks like it's going to be really good. Buffy is going to be there.
That was a nice reminder. For anybody that wants to go to the Entrepreneur Live event in Burbank, November 9th, I will be there. Hannah won't be there, but maybe I can make a t-shirt in time. Wish Hannah was here. That would be great.
Please.
I'm going to... Yes. So Jerry, David Hernandez, who else was on this earlier? Matthew Boyerski, everybody. I'm going to link up a redemption code in the comments when we're through with this. And, if you guys want to come to the event, Deepa was nice enough to hook us up with some free tickets. I think that's still live and it's still live. If not, we do have like 25% off coupons too, but I think the free tickets are still there. So we'll link that up to everybody that's here. David, I really hope to see you. I'd love to jam with you in real life. Yes, a Team Hannah shirt.
No, you don't need
I'm
that.
going to do it. Hashtag Team Hannah. Let's make this happen.
No.
But yeah, we'll link that up. I would love to jam with you guys in person, and that will definitely be up in the comments. But before we leave you guys today, I'd like to leave and sign off with this. With a little bit of humility, hustle, and hope, you can gain a lot of happiness. I really like that one.
That's really good.
Yeah. So until next week, my name is Mikhail.
And I'm Hannah.
And if you have any questions about social or digital marketing, please feel free to comment below, and we'll see you next week.